click on this and I already have it open here. So same page. I'm just gonna close this. So this is the um, download button. So it says type software version 7.1.59, 29 May 2015, and operating systems Windows 7, 32-bit, Windows 7, 64-bit, Windows 8, Windows 8. Okay. I'm actually using Windows 10, but this version is still working. So you just have to click download the download button, and I'm gonna not gonna continue downloading this because this is already installed on my uh, computer or laptop. So yeah, same page. This is the same page as this one. So I'm gonna close this. So this is the link where you can again you can download the newest version. I'm probably gonna make a video about this in the future, but for now I'm gonna just show you the version that is working, at least for me. So once you have downloaded the software, you're gonna have this link here. I mean this file. So this is the name of the file, and this is the installer itself, and it comes with a user guide. I already opened it, have it opened here. So, and by the way, these are the host PC requirements. So CPU, this is the CPU, HDRAM, hardware, operating systems. Oh yeah, so Windows 7 or later. So so that's why it's working on Windows 10. So, but on the website it says here, didn't say later, but I guess it's still working, right? So there is at least one thing that you need to remember before. Let me show you it from. Let me show you. Uh, so double click a project icon to open the project. I just wanted to show you, you know, from scratch how you can actually open the software. So this is the option where you can um, add devices, DIY, I think do it yourself devices. I'm not gonna do this here in this video, but this is where you can actually specify the port, the type, device type name, but I'm not gonna do that like I said. This is where you can add routers, and this is where you can add switches, and this is the host, remote, and this is the ports. In this video, I'm just gonna show you how you can uh, add to I can't really. You can actually click escape on the escape keyboard, but I'm recording this video, so when if if I click escape, the keyboard escape, I'm gonna stop the video. So I'm just gonna delete the devices. So align horizontally. And by the way, this HCL software is based on GNS3. It's actually says here. I already read this this user guide. So somewhere here. HCL is based on DNS3 and Qt open source code. So this is like DNS3. At least the drag and drop and the right click functions. So this is where you can add links. I'm gonna select this port, select that port, and turn on the devices. So you just have to wait for a few seconds because it's gonna restart. I mean, start or boot up. So let's just wait for a few seconds. While they are Today in this video, I'm gonna show you how you can configure your telnet on HP switches. So by default, telnet is disabled. Only uh, both telnet and SSH are disabled. You can only console into the HP switch. So in this video, I'm gonna show you how you can uh, log into HP switches using telnet and or through telnet and using a username or local user or local account. So I have a topology here. We have a basically a core one, access switch one, and host. This is the same topology that I used when I talked about bridge aggregation, configuring bridge aggregation on HP switches. But I can use the same topology to show you how you can uh, configure telnet. So let me go into the switch, access switch. So let me do a show display users. Show display users. Display users. This is aux meaning that here, aux meaning that I am connected to this switch via console. Um, and this switch, it has an IP address, so I can actually console into it telnet into it after we have configured the configured telnet. Let me open also the core one. So they have the same, they have IP addresses configured on them. So I can also telnet into access switch from core, from the core one switch here. So creating a local user. So in this case, we're going to use a local user or local account so we can access or log into the switch. So first, we have to create a local user. I'm going to go to system view. By the way, system view, meaning that this is where you can make changes on the device. So local user admin. So this is actually the name. You can name, you can, choose any names that you want, but in this case, I'm gonna say admin and class. So we have two classes, manage and network. I'm gonna choose manage because I want to manage the device. I want to make changes to it. And so it says here, new local user added. And service type. So I'm gonna say telnet and SSH. I'm gonna talk about SSH, configuring SSH on the future videos. But in this case, we are just enabling both telnet and SSH. So authorization, attribute, user role. So I want this to be, we have a list of user roles here, but I want this user to have the network admin role. And password, I want to assign a password. So hash simple. I'm going to use simple. Password is HP. So we have configured our local user. And next is configuring telnet. So like I said, telnet is, or telnet server feature is disabled by default. So we have to enable it. So telnet server enable. And I'm gonna go into the line BTY0 for authentication. So we actually have three types of authentication: non-password scheme. So non meaning that there's no, you can log in without authentication. Password meaning that you have to provide a password. Scheme meaning that you have um, to use a local account, or if you have a like remote, I mean radius or TACAX configured, you can use the username that is configured on the servers. But in this case, we are just using a local user or local account. So we're gonna use the local account when we log in later through telnet. So protocol, inbound. Did I enable SSH also? I think I just enabled, yeah, we actually both enabled telnet and SSH. But I'm just going to enable telnet here. So display this. So as you can see, we have configured this line here, line VTY0 through 4, authentication, scheme. Um, this is enabled by default. You can't actually delete this. So let me try and delete it just so you can see it. Undo user role, network operator. Okay, so you can't delete this role or user role. The last user role can't be deleted. So let me go to create to the local user view that we have created. So local user admin class manage display this. So okay, so we have this local user created and the password. So as you saw here, I actually said simple. Where is it? I actually said simple. Actually said simple, but when here simple password simple. But if you go into the local user view, you see that password says hash, not simple anymore. So just want to show you that. And service type is we both enabled SSH and telnet. And I think this is also the authorization attribute user role is also enabled by default. But this is the one that we have configured, right? Network admin. So let me see if I can undo this because we didn't configure this. Okay, so I guess you can delete it because you have the network admin as the user role, but I believe you cannot uh, undo it when there's no user role enabled. So let me undo. I mean, you can actually. Okay, so you don't have to have a user role in the configured on the local user, but it's better that you configure it. So I'm gonna put it back. Authorization, attribute, user role, admin, network admin. Display this. Okay, so we're done. You can actually type return so you can go into the user mode. So I'm gonna try to telnet into myself or into this switch. So we have the IP address 10.1.1.30. So admin, username is admin, password is HP. So system view. Let me do a show IP interface brief. Okay. Let me just try to uh, save the config. All right. So we have successfully logged into the access switch through telnet. Let me go to the core switch and see if I can telnet into the access switch also. Pre, oops. So you have to be in the user mode. Telnet. Okay, login, admin, password HP. Okay, and as you can see here, we can verify the users that are currently logged in by doing a display users. So we have two users that are logged in via telnet. So BTY1, BTY0, and BTY1. And you can also do display line. So as you can see, line is active. That's a plus sign, meaning that BTY0 and BTY1 are both active. So, yep, that's how you can uh, log into HP switches through telnet. So, yep, that's it in this video. Thanks for watching. Today in this video, I'm gonna um, show you how you can configure SSH on HP switches. So I am using the same topology. So we have a core 1 connected to access switch 1, and we have a PC connected to the access switch. Um, let me go into access switch. So let me do exit. So let me see if I can make this a little bigger. Change 14. Apply. Okay. Line aux 0 is available, meaning that we are connected to this switch via console. So here, line aux. So let me go to the procedure here. So first is we need to create a local user, but in this case, I believe local user. We already have a local user. This is the local user that I created when I made a video about configuring telnet. So local user, let me just double check. So local user admin class manage password, so hash, service type. So I'm using both SSH and telnet, and authorization attribute, user role admin. So we have created, uh, there's already a local user on the switch, so we don't have to worry about that. So creating SSH, configuring SSH. This is where we can actually configure. I mean, the SSH is what we can configure in this case. So system view, step 1, public, local, create. In this case, I'm choosing RSA. Okay, so it says here, so looks like the local key pair already exists. Confirm to replace it. You can just replace it. So input the modulus length, so 1024 default. So I'm just going to press enter. Generating keys. Okay. Now I can go into the line BTY 04 through 4. Display this just to verify its configuration. So looks like it already has the authentication mode scheme. This is where you have to use a local account, or where you can use a external server like Radios or TACX. So that's done. Um, Actually, I forgot to enable SSH first. So let me go ahead and enable it in the system view. So server, because like telnet, SSH is disabled by default also, so we have to enable it. Okay, that's enabled. BTY 0. Let's play this again. So we only have protocol inbound, um, telnet enabled for the protocol inbound. So let me enable SSH as well. Let me do question mark. So we can enable both or all, but I'm just gonna do SSH and quit. So I guess we can try it now, right? So this switch has an IP address of 10.11.30. So let me go into the core switch here. display this IP. I mean, this switch has an IP address of 10.1.1.29, and let me just ping 10.1.1.30. Okay, I can ping it. Let me go ahead and SSH into that device. So admin, I mean username is admin. Connecting to port 22. So connecting to IP address port 22. The server's host key does not match the local cached. Either the server has changed or you connected to another server pretending to be the server. Please remove the and before logging in. Okay. So let me just do something here. Begin SSH or public key. Public key. Here. Okay, let me public. Okay, it's gone. So I just followed the instruction here. Let me see if it's gonna work this time. So SSH admin. Okay, so connecting to 10.1.1.30 port 22. The server is not authenticated. Continue, yes. Do you want to save the server public key? Yes. Password HP. So looks like it's successful. So display users. So as you can see, I am logged in to the access switch via SSH. So BTY 0 SSH. So let me go here, verifying users that are currently connected. So I already did display users. We can just do display line. So it says here that so we are connected both to the access switch via console and SSH BTY0. So let me try to do to SSH into the switch itself. So let's see if it works. Telnet. um, SSH Tendo admin. Okay, so it's saying the same thing here. So we need to uh, system display current. We need to delete that public key. Public key or begin. So undo. Oops. Let me try to SSH again. Username. Okay, yes, yes. Password HP. Display users. So as you can see, there's two users log into the same switch via SSH. So that is how you can configure SSH on HP switches. Okay, that's it in this video. Thanks for watching. In this video, I'm going to talk about predefined roles on HP switches. So we have a table here, uh, predefined roles and permissions matrix. So we have user role name and permissions. So so network admin, meaning that when this user role is assigned to a user, that user uh, pretty much can pretty much do anything on the on the device, right? But network operator, meaning that user the user access is limited. It says here that uh, it can just display commands for features and resources in the system. So, and we have like level dash n, so n equals to 0 through 15. So uh, it says here that uh, level 0, I'm not gonna go through all this in these in detail, but it says here that level 15 has the same rights as network admin. And security audit. This is also a predefined user roles. So, so these are all predefined user roles. So network admin, network operator, level one, I mean level dash n, n equals to 0 through 15, security audit. So let me show you, let me go to a device and show you this here. Um, so I have two devices connected to each other. So let me go to the access switch and do that command. Display current config begin user role name. So as you can see, level 1 through 15 role name through no, there's actually no level 15 here. But let me do this. Let me do show uh, role and see if we can find the level 15. Okay, so in the in the current configuration, level 15 it's not showing, but it's showing here by doing a that command, display role. I'm gonna add this here. So I have a list of things that uh, I wanna talk about in this video. So not just, I mean, specific things about user roles. So this is done. And let's go here. User roles in the local user. When authentication mode scheme is configured, user roles in the user line, I'm just reading this here, or user line class view are ignored. So let me show you what this means here. Uh, Basically, display current configuration begin local user. So I already have a local user configured on this access switch. And this access switch has, I mean, this local user has a user role operator. So and service type is telnet and SSH. So let me go here. Let me go to the line configuration. So here I have line VTY0 configured with this authentication mode scheme. So when authentication mode scheme is configured, user roles in the user line or user line class view are ignored. So when I try to telnet into uh, this switch is going to ask me for a username and password because this authentication mode scheme is configured. So let me actually do that now. And this switch has that IP address. So telnet 10.1.1.30 login admin password HP. So let me go back here, or let me just verify that I am connected to this switch via telnet. So as you can see, I am connected to this switch via telnet. And let me do that command, local user. So this particular user, uh, admin, uh, its user role is just network operator, meaning that network operator is just you can't you can't if you have that role user role you can't like say make changes I believe on the device. So let me uh, do a change here real quick. So let me change the IP address of this loopback. See, you can't go into the interface view, permission denied, because this user, the admin user that is logged in, is a user that has this user role, network operator, and it's using VTY0, which is working as expected because if you go into that line, it again, uh, line VTY0 has that configuration, has this option configured on it. So it's going to use the local user configured on this device. So let me actually do let me turn it into that switch from the core. So 1030. So as you can see, it's not asking for a username. It's just asking for a password because um, line class VTY is configured with this authentication with this option. So it's just asking for a password, not the local username, and password. So password is HP, and as you can see, uh, user role admin is configured on that under that line class VTY. So meaning that I can make a change on this device. So let me do a show display IP interface brief. Let me try to change the loopback IP address 0 IP address 2.2.2 255.255.255.255. See, I'm able to make a change on this device because I am logged in as I am logged in with user role network admin. So let me save that command. I mean that change. So that proves that uh, this concept here is correct. User roles in the local user. Uh, when authentication mode scheme is configured, uh, local users in the user line, I mean local user roles in the user line and user line class view are ignored. The user role that is configured on the local user is used. So that's done. Let me just put done and done here. So let's go to the next item. User roles in the user line view when authentication mode authentication mode password is configured. User roles in the user line view are used. So I already showed you this that yeah, let me go back here. That let me do this command. Let me exit out. Okay, so system view current begin line. So when authentication mode's password is used, by the way, uh, it's not showing the authentication mode password under this line class BTY because I believe it's the default value or option, so it's not showing there. So when I logged in earlier from the core switch to access switch, I'm just talking about here. I'm just talking about this concept here. Concept here. User roles in the user line view are used, or user line view or class line user line class view. So in this case, class view. So I hope that makes sense. And last is a setting in user line view is applied only to the user line. Setting in user line class view is applied to all users of the class. So an example of that is actually this. I already showed you this concept here. So uh, this is the user line, right? And uh, this is I mean line one. So line BTY 0. That's first line, and it's using this authentication mode scheme, which is when you logged in. Uh, I mean, if you are the first user to log into this device, it's gonna ask for the local username and password because this option here is configured. But the next user that to log into this device, this here is not gonna use. I mean, this here is not gonna be used, but this option here, which is password. So that's why when I logged in from the, from the, let me exit out. Let me do it again. When I logged in, I mean telnet into the access switch from the core. It's not using the. Oh, hold on. I guess I'm the first exit display users. Okay, so I'm the first a user to telnet into the device, so that's why it's asking for a login and password. So I'm just gonna do it. So okay, and I'm gonna telnet to the access switch from the access switch 30. So it's not gonna use. I mean, it's not gonna ask for a username because the next this here is being applied, not here. So HP display users. So as you can see, there's two users logged in this device. Uh, One is via VTY0 and the other is via VTY1. There's actually three users, and the other one is aux or via console. So that is what this concept here means. So I hope that makes sense. Um, Again, this is just, if you wanna check the details of user roles, you can just do this command. The access. I mean the types of access that the user has. If that user has these user roles, and this one here, this is just display. You can just display. I mean, you can just use display commands, and this is the user role that uh, as it says here, uh, user role has the only user role that has access to security log files and display roles, which includes all the user roles here, including the level 0 through 14. So um, what else I haven't showed you yet? Let me do this. Exit current begin local user. And let me actually do this. Local user admin. Oops, I'm still connected to. I'm going to show you another example. Uh, display users. Exit. Okay, I'm gonna do it here. Display current begin local user. So I'm gonna change the user role of this user. System view. I'm gonna make it instead of a network operator. I'm gonna make it network admin. Network admin. And display this. So I'm gonna remove network operator because we are actually admin, not network operator. Display this. So display current begin line. So line VTY, first line, it still has authentication mode scheme. So I expect that when I telnet into this device, into access this device or access switch, Oops, what did I do that command? Display users. So let me telnet from the core 10.1.30. Okay, admin HP system. Since I changed the user role of the local user admin, I should be able to make changes to this device. So let me actually just try to loop back 0. The IP address of the loopback 0 is that IP. So let me try to change that to change it back to the 1.1.1.255.255.255.255. See, I'm able to make a change because I'm logged in as a user with user role network admin. So save force, exit. So that is all I want to show you in this video. I hope this is useful. So thanks for watching. Bye. In this video, I'm going to show you how I configured a bridge aggregation between this core 1 switch and this access switch 1. So as you can see, there's two ports connected between them. So that's what I uh, I configured bridge aggregation and associate these ports. Let me see if I can there. So these are the ports, the, the port names. So let me go to core 1 and access switch 1. I have configured a SVI or layer 3 ports on both switches. So let me show you the output of display interface brief on core 1. So as you can see, VLAN 100 is configured and it has this IP address 10.1.1.29, and on the access switch display interface brief it has VLAN 100 configured also, and it has this IP address 10.1.1.30. And um, as you can see, uh, the layer 3 interface are in this section, and if you go down, these are the layer 2 ports. So there's when you do a display interface brief, there's two sections, layer 3 port interface or layer 3 interfaces and layer 2 interfaces. So same is true on access switch. So I think this is generally true on the Comware devices or HP devices. So layer 3 interfaces, layer 2 interfaces here. So, okay. And by the way, let me show you the VLAN. VLAN. So I've got, so VLAN 1 is configured by default, and I've got VLAN 100 configured. I configured this myself. And let me go to access switch 1, VLAN, display VLAN. So same is true on access switch 1. VLAN 1 is configured by default, and I configured VLAN 100. So let me try to ping um, here. So I've got dot 29 on core 1 and dot 30 on core on access switch 1. Let me see if I can ping the access switch 1. 10.1.1.30. Okay, I can ping it. And let me go to access switch 1 and ping the core switch 29. I can ping it as well. So I just wanted to show you that uh, there's layer 3 connectivity between these devices. So let me show you now how I configured the bridge aggregation on between these devices. So let me do a show interface brief. So as you can see, there is this interface bag 1 and uh, actually let me back up. Let me because this is basically the verification of the bridge aggregation. Let me show you now the configuration of the bridge aggregation. So this is the I have prepared the bridge aggregation configurations on both switches. So this is the configuration of the bridge aggregation one on the core. So let me just copy this interface and so display this. So as you can see, it should have the same configuration. So description, port link type trunk, and link aggregation mode dynamic. So it's using LACP, the LACP protocol, link aggregation. I think it stands for LACP, link aggregation protocol. LA, no, link aggregation control protocol. And I did not permit VLAN 1 because this is for security purposes. I did not permit VLAN 1 to traverse the port or the bridge aggregation. And I have VLAN 100 configured on both switches, so I am permitting VLAN 100 because this is uh, basically the management VLAN on these devices. And this one here, this is, let me show you this. Let me do a show. So MAD, it's just basically multi-active detection. So I believe uh, it detects the bridge aggregation detects the uh, the multiple ports when they are active, and I think when one of them goes down, the bridge aggregation would still be up. So that is just my understanding, but I need to verify it. But for now, we'll just leave it as it is. And this one here, let me go back, display this. Root, STP root protection. This is, I believe this is just to protect this switch or this port to be always the root port or the root bridge. So Um, Now let me show you the ports. I mean the configuration on the member ports. So here, as you can see, you just have I can just copy and paste this into the switch, but I already did this. I'm just showing you how the configurations now. So let me do a interface. Let me do quit. Interface 10 gigabit Ethernet 1050. Display this. So port link mode bridge, um, because I think this is enabled by default. I did not configure this. Let me go back to here. On the bridge aggregation port, it doesn't show that that's a link mode bridge. Let me do this. Port link mode. Ah, yeah. So this is port link mode is basically the option for you to whether you want this port to be a layer 2 port or layer 3 port. So bridge meaning that it's a layer 2 port. So let me go back here. So this is just a description, member one of bag one, and this is link type trunk. Of course, I'm configuring these ports as trunk, and same is true. I mean the same on bridge aggregation one. I do not permit the VLAN one to traverse the port or this bridge aggregation port, and I'm permitting VLAN 100. And I think this combo enable fiber. This is enabled by default as well. And this is how you actually make this physical port as a member of the aggregation, bridge aggregation one port. So let me show you the other uh, interface, which is 10, yeah, gigabit 51. Display this. So the configuration is the same. So here, so that's why you can use the range option because the member ports should have the same configuration. So yeah, let me show you now the configuration on the access switch, the bridge configuration on the access switch. I'm gonna uh, post this configuration in the description section of the video. So you can just copy and paste this and uh, you can just copy and paste this yourself if you want to lab this as well. So this is let me copy and paste this to the access switch. So display this. So let me do this. Display this. So description bag to core switch here. And of course, this is a trunk port and I am not permitting VLAN 1 and I'm permitting VLAN 100. And uh, the this link aggregation or this bridge aggregation port is using LACP as its protocol to communicate with the other bridge aggregation port. So that's the let me show you the difference the difference of the bridge aggregation configuration on core switch and access switch. So this is the bridge aggregation port or bridge aggregation configs on the access switch, and this is the bridge aggregation port config on the core switch. So this is just the some of the differences. The This feature is or this option is configured on the bridge aggregation port on the core switch, and the STP root protection is configured on that port as well. The rest is the same. And by the way, you don't have to undo shutdown on all the ports. The ports, I just add this just to make sure that that you enable the port as well, the ports as well. But you don't have to configure this. The ports are enabled by default. So yes, the the member ports have the same configuration on core switch, core one switch, and access switch one. So you can just let me show you the configuration of the member ports here. Display this. So that is the configuration on this port, physical port. Let me go to this port. Display this. And that is the configuration on that port. So the important thing here is the this this option here, uh, link aggregation mode. If you don't specify this, the the protocol, I mean, there will be no protocol. It's gonna be static. And on the member ports, this is the where is it? This is the option where you uh, associate the physical port to the bridge aggregation port. So group one meaning this bridge aggregation one. So that's why it's group one. And by the way, the numbering doesn't have to the bridge aggregation one doesn't have to be the same on the access switch device. So you can have bridge aggregation one on core one switch, and you can have bridge aggregation two on the access switch one. But I think it's best practice that you have the same numbering, right? So let me show you the verification commands. Display link aggregation member, display link aggregation member port. This is to view the aggregation ports. So let's say you don't know the configured aggregation ports on the devices. You can just uh, verify it by doing this command. So let me let me do this. Quit, quit. So display link aggregation port. So you can see that this is the aggregate interface, bridge aggregation one, and this is the physical ports here, same. bridge aggregation one and the physical ports. So that's how you can verify the aggregation ports, both the bridge aggregation and the physical ports. This is display link aggregation summary. This is to view the aggregation mode. So in this case, let me do that command again. In this case, we are using LACP as the aggregation mode. I mean, dynamic. We are The mode of the aggregation is dynamic because we are using LACP as the protocol. But if we are not using a protocol, the aggregation mode will be static, as you can see here, static and dynamic. So LACP uh, is standard. So that's how you can verify the aggregation mode. And this is display interface brief. This is basically to quickly view the speed of the bridge aggregation and the duplex type and the private ID. So this is the native VLAN. By default, native VLAN is one. And let me show you that the member ports are up as well. Here, these are the member ports. So next is display interface bridge aggregation one. So this is a command that you can use if you want to verify, I mean to view the details of the port. So current state up, description, bandwidth is 20 gig. So you can also see that here. And speed modes, duplex. So here are also 20 gig GBps, gigabit per second. And duplex mode, I mean, mode is full duplex. So auto negotiation. So private ID, one, port link type trunk, VLAN passing 100, VLAN permitted 100, and looks like there's no traffic traversing the port. Double check. There's no traffic traversing the port right now. All zero, right? Yeah. Next is display link aggregation verbose bridge aggregation one. So this is to view the local member ports and the remote member ports. So if you want to know the remote physical ports on the other side of the connection, you can use this command. So I've got some note here. When you configure the bridge aggregation interface, the member ports will be automatically configured as well. So let's say that you have created a bridge aggregation port and you have member ports that are already that are already part of that. You have physical ports that are already part of that bridge aggregation port. Um, when you, let's say, when you permit a VLAN on the aggregation port, it should be automatically configured on the physical ports as well. And when you have configured the member ports, as part of a bridge aggregation port, and one of them did not come up. Just try to restart your devices. So I encountered this issue when I have configured the physical ports as part of the bridge aggregation port, and one of them did not come up. So what I did, I just restarted the devices and it came up. So did I think I haven't tried to ping from. Did I? Let me go back. Anyway, I'm gonna ping the display IP interface. Oops. You can use display IP interface brief if you want to just view the layer 3 ports or interfaces. So I'm gonna ping the access switch 1 from core 1. So IP address is 10.1.30. I can ping access switch 1, and let me ping core switch 1, core 1 switch 29, and I can ping it as well. All right, so that is how you can configure a bridge aggregation between uh, HP devices. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye. Today I'm going to talk about Intelligent Resilient Framework, IRF. IRF is an HP technology that allows you to stack multiple switches into one logical switch. So I have I actually have a topology here that I'm going to use to show you how you can configure it. So let's talk about the master or the master slave election. Um, this is this is just some notes that I have here. So the switch that's the master stays the current master. Uh, if the master goes down, one of the slaves becomes the master. If the master switch comes back, again, it will come back as a slave because the current master stays the current master. If you don't have a current master, it's done on priorities. So 32 being the highest priority. Uh, if you want to force a switch to become a master, and default priority is 1. So let me actually go here, uh, enter. This is so I have two switches connected that has connections to each other, and this is the ports on switch 1 and ports on switch 2. So let me actually do because this is a new switch. I haven't configured this yet, so I just want to show you that the default priority is 1 here, as it says here. So I'm gonna do display IRF. So priority is 1, and member ID also is 1. That's the default also. So in IRF we have a master or slave. So I just read the master slave election some rules here. So the current master stays, I mean the switch that's the master stays the current master. I'm reading this again. If the master goes down, one of the slaves becomes the master, the one that has a higher priority. If the master switch comes back again, it will come back as a slave because there is already um, a master, a current master. And if you don't have a current master, it's done on priorities. So you can actually, like it says here, you can actually force a switch to become a master by setting its priority to a value of 32 because that's the highest value. So I have a step or IRF configuration steps here, short and easy. So it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is a real world step-by-step procedure because if you're gonna do this in, let's say, this HCL software, you have, you have console connections to both switches, uh, which is not usually the real scenario. Um, Typically, right? In if you are working for a company, you usually you only have one console connection to one of the switches. So that's why this is the steps that I created. So let me actually go here, go to our topology. I'm going to start with switch 2 because this is, we are just trying to simulate that we only have one console to one of the switches. So I'm going to start with uh, switch 2. So connect the switches using two. This is something that should be performed by someone on site. So connect the switches using two 10 gigabit ports and power them up. The ports that we are going to use in this lab is this port, 10 gigabit Ethernet 1051 through 1052. And let me just try to do this. So this is something that you ask to the, like I said, to someone on site to connect the switches using the designated uh, cables. So in this case, these cables, and power them up. So ask them to power them up. And second step is console into switch 2 and issue the following commands to verify port and IRF status. So I'm gonna actually do this. Display interface brief. So this is just to check that the the ports. I mean to check the ports. So in this case, this switch has 48 gigabit ports and 10. I mean four 10 gigabit ports, and this is just a lab. So this is actually a S5820 series switch. Let me actually do this command device. So this is the device name. So S5820. And I showed you this command earlier. show, I mean display IRF. So the default member ID is 1. The default priority is master, and default priority is 1. Did I say priority? Member ID is 1, and this is the CPU MAC address. So step 3, this is actually step 3. So renumber switch to ports, save configs, and reboot it. So you go into system view, sysname. I'm gonna just copy and paste this. So I'm just copying and pasting the commands here. So yes, continue. And save force. And exit or quit, reboot. Yes. So system is rebooting now. So this is, I can actually go ahead and configure switch 1 and this, I mean, because we are just using a the software here, HCL, but we are simulating that, like I said earlier, we only have one console connection to one of the switches. So switch has rebooted. So I'm gonna do display interface brief, and as you can see, the ports um, earlier it was gig 1 0 1 through 48. Now it's actually gigabit Ethernet 20 0 through 48. So the switch ID has switch member ID or switch ID has changed from 1 to 2. Let me do a show display IRF. So member ID is 1. The rest is the same. So we just remember the member or the switch ID. So IRF domain. So in this case, I'm specifying the IRF domain. Default is 0. So here, domain ID is 0. So I'm gonna go ahead and just copy and paste these commands. So IRF MAC address persistent timer. This is the MAC address that is used by layer 2 protocols. For example, LSCP. So I got this from one of the documents from HP. I'm gonna add it to the link to the description of this video, so you don't have to look for it. So this is just a MAC address that, I mean, this bridge MAC address is used by layer 2 protocols, for example LACP, to identify the IRF fabric, and must be unique on a switched LAN for proper communication. I believe by default is 6 minutes before the master release its MAC address. So the MAC address that's being used here is the MAC address of the master. So it's just saying that that the master won't release the MAC address until the timer expires. So I believe the timer is 6 minutes by default. Next is, I'm gonna copy and paste this command. And by the way, this is actually enabled by default. So let me do a let me do this command IRF. So it is already configured by default, and as well as this command also, this command, but I'm just gonna copy and paste it. And this one is also enabled, configured by default, as you can see here, and undo IRF link delay. This is just to delay the reporting of the port that has gone down. But in this case, we are not using that timer. We are disabling that feature. So IRF member 2, priority 20. So in this case, we are specifying the priority to 20. And this, we are just specifying the description. So here, let me go back to the topology. So we are using this port, these ports, 51 and 52. So I'm using the range feature. So I'm gonna shut down the ports before I add them or bind them to the IRF ports. So this is the IRF port. And this is how you add logical IRF port. And this is how you add the physical port to the IRF port. So it says you need to execute this command to activate the IRF ports. So another logical IRF port, because we are adding two physical ports. And you need to unshut the physical ports. Quit. Oops. Unshut. Interface. Range 10. 2, 10, 20, 52. Undo shut them. And this is how you activate the IRF ports or IRF configuration. And save the config. You can use exit or quit. So save force. And I'm gonna do display IRF just to make sure that the priority ID has changed. Role is still master. Member ID 2, and this is the description. So let me go to, so switch 2 is finished. Let me go to switch 1. So line aux0 is available, meaning that we are connected to the switch via console connection. So system view, I'm just gonna copy and paste these commands. So this is the same IRF domain that we configured on switch 2, and this is enabled by default, but I'm just copying and pasting them for completion sake, and completion IRF member priority 30. So on switch 1 it's priority 20, and on switch 2 we configured priority 20, and but on switch 1, on this switch, we are configuring priority 30. So this is gonna be the master, and switch 2 is slave. So this is just to specify the description. So quit. So you have to, again, like what we did on switch 2, we have to shut down the, you don't have to quit. You have to shut down the physical ports before you add them, you bind them to the IRF ports. So port group interface and the name of the interface. That's the command to bind the ports into the IRF ports. And you have to also uh, issue this command to activate the IRF ports. I'm gonna do that. So it says here that this will cause switch to reboot as it will be added to the stack. So as soon as I enter undo shut here, uh, switch to, let me go to switch to. So as soon as I hit enter here, switch to should reboot. And I think it's rebooting now. Let's just give it a few seconds. Yeah, it's rebooting. So it's just doing its thing to bind the uh, the switches into one logical switch. So press enter to get started. So when I hit enter, it says switch 1. Switch 2 is gone. So let me do a display IRF. So a member, plus meaning that this is the device that we are on. So this symbol here. So this is the standby. Standby. It's actually standby, not slave. But in the documentation, I believe it was slave. But same, it's just the term, same concept. So master is switch 1, which has the member ID 1. So that is the priority 30. So in this case, switch 2 has a priority of 20. And we can actually do this commands to verify the ports. So before, we only have 48 ports. Now, we have these ports and we have these ports. So this is the ports on the master switch, and this is the ones on the standby switch or slave switch. Let me go to the topology and to let me save the config. Do a display IRF as well. So that plus sign, so meaning that we are logged in on this device. Display IRF configuration. So that's where this is where we can see the physical ports. Display, what else? Topology, IRF topology. So neighbor, we can see the neighbor link, and so as you can see, the IRF fabric is using the This MAC address, the MAC address of the master switch. So same MAC address. So yeah, that's how you can configure IRF on HP switches. So thanks for watching.